Hello and welcome to the course Media in ELT. This is Miss New Deng from the Faculty of Foreign Languages, University of Technology and Education. You are welcome to this lecture, which focuses on different learning environments, including one-to-one classes and large classes. We agreed that one solution to have students engaged in class activities is to organize them to work in pairs, trios, and groups. As we earlier discussed, the classroom involves social interactions, and a teacher can capitalize on these interactions to promote learning. There are 4 ways which this can be done. One of them is working in pairs. The other is working in trios. And the third one, which I'm sure you are all familiar with, is working in groups. And then we have the fourth one, which is snowballing. Working in pairs involves students turning and talking to each other. After the teacher has posed a question, pairs of students are encouraged to turn to each other. One listens while the other answers. This way, half of the class is engaged in talking, and it is easier for students to pay attention to the speaker in a paired situation. Now, be sure that students know ahead of time who their partner is and what they practice how to pair up. You'll, however, need to balance the situation where students are given the opportunity to choose their own partners, thus engaging them in the process, and at the same time avoiding the situation where some students will not find partners just because others wouldn't want to pair with them. You must ensure that every student gets a partner. This should move quickly, so keep the pace brisk to support students staying on task. That is working in pairs. The second is working in triads. In this situation, we have 3 learners involved. We have the talker, the listener, and the observer. Now, basic idea of this is to help students to develop speaking skills, strengthen their speaking skills, and to develop listening skills, and to develop observational skills. The talker explains something, perhaps through storytelling, while the listener tries not only to understand the content of what is being said, but the feelings behind the content, and also make meaning of what the story is all about. The observer, on the other hand, will be concerned with the activities involved in the listening, look at the essentials, the eye contact. Is the listener really engaged in the whole process? And at the end of the day, he or she will give feedback to the listener and then the talker. And this type of grouping helps in promoting interaction between these 3 people and helps in consolidating their speaking skills, listening skills, and observational skills. The triad model is very, very important and applicable in schools when we want to offer learners the opportunity to go beyond stories to this point of making meaning of what is meant. Now we go to the third one, which is working in groups. This is a common technique that is used in most classrooms and especially used in large classrooms. But there are certain issues that teachers need to consider when asking students to work in groups. One of them is experience. What experiences do the groupings, the members of the group have? Or what experience do you expect them to have in order to work effectively in the group? What are these expectations? You need to consider the size of the group too. Averagely, a size of 5 will be more appropriate. Of course, I admit that at times managing large classes will make it difficult to use smaller size. But it is very helpful if group members will make meaning of whatever activity engaging in the group to have smaller size. Then you also need to think about a space, because the groups must have space to work in. Then What I consider to be the most important, you must make clear the tasks involved in the group work. When a task is not clearly spelled out, the group work tends to be a play activity, which could not promote the learner. And it also makes it very difficult for the teacher to measure the expected outcomes and benefits. That's why in your class presentations, I always ask you to prepare your instructions for all activities carefully and make everything clear before moving on. The group activity must not be left unmonitored. It is very important that the teacher, after putting students in groups to work and assigning them a task, move from each group to the other, encouraging the students, helping them out, and ensuring that no one dominates the activities. So these 6 things must be considered: experience and expectations, size of group, space, task of the group, monitoring of group activity and outcomes. There are issues that need to be considered. Now, allocating and assuming roles. Who does what in the groups? Who leads the group? What might these roles be? What should go into it? Chairing the group? What should be the chairperson of the group do? Who takes notes? Who reports? Who will be the researcher? Who will be the timekeeper? Who will be the evaluator? These are things that need to be considered if the group would be properly organized and then work towards the prescribed tasks. The 4th technique of grouping in a classroom is snowballing, or you may call it group crossing. In snowballing, the first pair is encouraged to join another pair, in which case you get a membership of 4. Then after the activity, one member of that 4 could join another group to form another group. In doing so, it helps students to exchange ideas with different groups of people, and then also helps in sharing new ideas. This is also a very important technique of grouping. 1. In promoting social interaction in the classroom, and then also helping each student to identify the good in the other, and it is worth trying in our university. Discuss this with your classmates, some of the constraints or disadvantages, or how they may be dealt with. For example, in situations where you have very large classes, how can you deal with large classes within the context of grouping? Discuss how to make better use of classroom space. And then lastly, decide to try something different in your future classroom. Could you invite a critical friend to observe and comment what you do in the classroom? Thank you for listening. Until we meet again, I say goodbye.